These are just theories and not facts.
They say the truth is stranger than fiction. That's no lie. In principle, conspiracy theories are not always false by default, and their validity depends on evidence, just as in any theory. However, they are often discredited due to the cumbersome and improbable nature of many of them. This may be considered a rather silly theory from left field. But it was pondering the disclosure events recently along with surfing a few rabbit holes and came to this theory. Fluoride in the water are there to make us lose our spirituality and make us unavailable to extraterrestrial occurrences.
That fluoride in the water thing is so sketchy. Have you ever looked into whether or not fluoride should be in the water?
The stuff occurs naturally in some water systems, but when added to municipal water, it inexpensively prevented tooth decay in kids and tooth loss in adults, the CDC wrote. The additive has also been previously found to be harmful in excess, after studies showed how fluoride consumed in very high levels could damage the bones and teeth. In 2015, the U.S. Public Health Service recommended fluoridating at about 0.7 milligrams per liter of water. And the EPA limited how much of the substance was allowed in the drinking water. In the last few years, some communities have stopped fluoridating their water after residents questioned the practice and complained to remove it, suggesting that water fluoridation is a government mind control trick. The CDC has listed water fluoridation, which began in the US in 1945, as one of the top public health wins of the 20th century, alongside car safety, vaccinations, and the acknowledgement that tobacco is a health hazard. The theory is repeated doses of infinitesimal amounts of fluoride will in time reduce an individual's power to resist domination, by slowly poisoning and narcotizing a certain area of the brain known as the pineal gland, thus making him submissive to the will of those who wish to govern him. This might sound ridiculous to some, but it has a degree of basis in science. In the 1990s, a British scientist, Jennifer Luke, discovered that by old age, the pineal gland contains about the same amount of fluoride as teeth. And we now know that calcification of the pineal gland gets worse with age and can occur in children as young as 2. This gland is in the brain, it maintains the body's sleep-wake cycle, regulates the onset of puberty in females, and helps protect the body from cell damage. They believe fluoride is instrumental in mind control because, they insist, it blocks the third eye. Mystics and spiritual masters have concluded that the pineal gland, situated in the center of the brain, is a connection between the body and the soul. There have now been 33 studies from China, Iran, India, and Mexico that have reported an association between fluoride exposure and reduced IQ. One of these studies indicates that even just moderate levels of fluoride exposure, example, 0.9 ppm in the water, can exacerbate the neurological defects of iodine deficiency. Reduced IQ is not the only neurotoxic effect that may result from fluoride exposure. At least 3 human studies have reported an association between fluoride exposure and impaired visual spatial organization, while 4 other studies have found an association between prenatal fluoride exposure and fetal brain damage. According to the National Research Council, 2006, it is apparent that fluorides have the ability to interfere with the functions of the brain. In a review of the literature commissioned by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, fluoride has been listed among about 100 chemicals for which there is substantial evidence of developmental neurotoxicity. So the question is why? Why is chemicals added to water accessible to all for consumption? Is it to control people? Dumbing us down to make it easier to have mass control?
Hitler put fluoride in water. And you know Hitler didn't give a fuck if all the people that he was keeping captive were getting tooth decay. He was trying to make them weaker and make them easier to control. And there is proof that that might be happening to us.
The most distressing findings come from 18 studies done worldwide, showing a substantial lowering of IQ in overly fluoridated areas.
Yeah, places that have more fluoride in their water, the people have lower IQs, which means they're dumber, which means they're easier to manipulate.
This, however, is not the only theory that is used for the control of the public. Another is subliminal messages, starting from kids' cartoons to all entertainment consumed by us.
I am now going to assault your mind with subliminal messages.
Oh yeah.
Subliminal messages are words or images presented below our conscious awareness. Usually we think of short frames cut into a video feed, where a subliminal message appears so quickly, usually less than 1/10 of a second, that our minds do not register their appearance. New research from Valentin Dragoy's lab at the University of Texas at Houston suggests that subliminal images can change our brain activity and behavior. Hidden messages or images in ads designed to affect your subconscious mind, overwhelm you with a longing and desire for, well, you're not quite sure. Because you never really saw it. Subliminal advertising is real and extremely powerful. The human mind reacts to subtle and below-the-consciousness clues. It's proven in study after study that we can be nudged one way or the other in our thoughts by something as simple as word choice. Hearing a series of positive words make assign more positive attributes to whatever follows. Negative words give us a more negative attitude. If someone smiles at you, you are more likely to smile in return. It's why a TV commercial averages more than $350,000 to produce. Could you shoot it with your iPhone? Yes, you can. But the subtle quality cues that are communicated in the nuances of lighting, pacing, casting, are all subliminal advertising. The details matter, even the ones you can't readily see.
Yvonne et Miage, they keep saying that. Let me play this backwards.
Join the Navy.
They're recruiting people with subliminal messages.
Oh, what do you expect? Those bastards turned a whole generation of Americans into smokers with their damn subliminal advertising.
Even the sound frequencies used affect us. Our brain is like a symphony conductor, orchestrating various responses to the sounds we hear. When we listen to music, our brain processes the different frequencies present in the melodies and rhythms. Studies have shown that specific frequencies can directly impact our brainwaves. For instance, higher frequencies, like those found in upbeat tunes, can stimulate the brain, triggering the release of neurotransmitters like dopamine, which are associated with feelings of joy and pleasure. On the other hand, lower frequencies, such as the soothing hum of a cello, can induce a state of relaxation by encouraging the brain to produce alpha and theta brainwaves, which are linked to calmness and meditation. Have you ever found yourself crying while listening to a sad song or dancing without a care in the world to an upbeat track? That's the power of sound frequencies at play. Slow, melancholic tunes with lower frequencies can evoke emotions like sadness or introspection, while faster, higher frequency beats can make you feel energized and euphoric. This brings us to infrasound. Infrasound, sometimes referred to as low-frequency sound, describes sound waves with a frequency below the lower limit of human audibility. Hearing becomes gradually less sensitive as frequency decreases, so for humans to perceive infrasound, the sound pressure must be sufficiently high. One study has suggested that infrasound may cause feelings of awe or fear in humans. It has also been suggested that since it is not consciously perceived, it may make people feel vaguely that odd or supernatural events are taking place. A scientist working at Sydney University's Auditory Neuroscience Laboratory reports growing evidence that infrasound may affect some people's nervous system by stimulating the vestibular system, and this has shown in animal models an effect similar to seasickness. Later studies, however, have linked inaudible infrasound to effects such as fullness, pressure or tinnitus, and acknowledged the possibility that it could disturb sleep. Other studies have also suggested associations between noise levels in turbines and self-reported sleep disturbances in the nearby population. Because infrasound can affect people's whole bodies, it has been under serious investigation by military and research organizations since the 1950s, largely the Navy and NASA, to figure out the effects of low-frequency vibration on people stuck on large, noisy ships with huge throbbing motors or on top of rockets launching into space. Almost any part of your body, based on its volume and makeup, will vibrate at specific frequencies with enough power. Human eyeballs are fluid-filled ovoids, lungs are gas-filled membranes, and the human abdomen contains a variety of liquid, solid, and gas-filled pockets. All of these structures have limits to how much they can stretch when subjected to force, so if you provide enough power behind a vibration, they will stretch and shrink in time with the low-frequency vibrations of the air molecules around them. The effects of this type of whole-body vibration can cause many problems, ranging from bone and joint damage with short exposure to nausea and visual damage with chronic exposure. Why is everything we consume controlled in a way or manipulated? Just look at this.
Our country.
The sharing of biased and false news has become all too common on social media.
The sharing of biased and false
news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think. And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
What do you think the puppet masters can accomplish by combining all of these factors and elements? Are you waking up to the reality